Spotlight down, truth up. 6 young stars tore up Hollywood's safe script, coming out, calling out, and turning backlash into rocket fuel. From an OG YouTube phenom to a pop prince built on provocation, these stories are pride with consequences. If visibility is your vibe, hit subscribe, ring the bell, tell us your city, and drop 1 to 6 for the story that hits hardest. Let's begin. 1. Lucas Cruikshank, the OG internet trailblazer. Picture a 13-year-old kid with a squeaky voice and chaotic energy who became one of YouTube's first superstars. That was Lucas Cruikshank, the mastermind behind the viral character, Fred Figglehorn. Lucas transformed viral fame into a Nickelodeon movie deal, blazing a trail from internet to mainstream that influencers still follow today. But amid the slapstick comedy and millions of fans, Lucas held a secret that he eventually revealed with disarming humor. In 2013, at age 19, he casually announced on YouTube, "I'm gay. It feels so weird saying it on camera." Sitting beside a friend in a Q&A video, he then quipped, "How come you didn't have to make a video saying you're straight?" skewering the double standard of Hollywood with a single joke. It was a groundbreaking moment. A beloved kids' TV star coming out not in a glossy magazine, but in a goofy YouTube clip to his loyal online friends. Many fans cheered his authenticity, while a few trolls and old-school execs weren't sure what to make of this proudly gay teen idol. Lucas didn't miss a beat. He continued doing what he does best, entertaining, now with an extra spark of confidence. He showed that coming out could be on his terms, infused with the same witty authenticity that made him famous. Years later, Lucas reflects on how freeing it was to no longer hold his tongue about who he is. He's returned to YouTube, more irreverent than ever, occasionally poking fun at his past and tackling mature topics alongside comedy. In an industry that often pressures young talents to fit a mold, Lucas broke it and laughed at the pieces on the floor. Icon or just a nostalgic rebel rewriting his legacy? Comment below. Was Lucas's casual coming out move too low-key for Hollywood's liking, or exactly the kind of authentic moment the world needed? 2. Miles Heizer, the quiet groundbreaker. On screen, Miles Heizer has died dramatically in a school shooting drill, grappled with teen angst, and even jammed on guitar, but off-screen, this 13 Reasons Why actor's approach to his identity is refreshingly low-key. Miles never staged a flashy coming out. Instead, he let a simple Instagram post do the talking. One day, fans noticed a sweet photo of Miles with fellow actor Connor Jessup, captioned with a belated Valentine's I love you, making their romance public and sending the internet into a frenzy of Zasamkar couple goals delight. With that, Miles quietly confirmed what many had wondered. He was living his truth. No press conference needed. In Hollywood, where even love can be a spectacle, Miles's casual openness felt radical. He normalized queer relationships simply by sharing his happiness without fanfare. Not that his journey has been without fan obsession. Die-hard viewers once shipped Miles with his co-star Brandon Flynn so intensely that rumors of the two dating flooded social media. It got so wild that Miles's rep had to debunk the Brandon and Miles fantasy as a false report, clarifying they were just friends. But even that speaks to Miles's impact. Audiences wanted their beloved on-screen gay characters to find love in real life. A testament to how convincingly and sensitively he portrayed Alex Standall on 13 Reasons Why. The show itself was controversial for its raw take on teen suicide and trauma, and Miles was right at the heart of its most gut-wrenching storyline. Instead of shying away, he embraced roles that sparked tough conversations, from 13 Reasons to the queer teen classic Love, Simon. He's been hailed for bringing extraordinary subtlety and grace to complex emotions on screen. A thoughtful thespian indeed. In person, Miles exudes that same gentle authenticity. He speaks up about mental health, supports LGBTQ representation in media, and even flexes his creativity as a musician on the side. No scandals necessary. His rebellion is in his refusal to be anything other than himself. Too quiet to create change, or quietly changing Hollywood on his own terms. Sound off in the comments. Is Miles a low-key icon making a difference under the radar, or do fans crave a louder statement? 3. Garrett Clayton, the Disney rebel. Sun-kissed smile, chiseled jaw, and surfer boy charm. Garrett Clayton burst onto the scene in Disney's Teen Beach movie. A classic heartthrob, straight out of a 60s jukebox fantasy. He could have ridden that wave of teen idol fame forever, playing it safe. Instead, Garrett swerved off the script in spectacular fashion. In 2018, he came out as gay in a heartfelt Instagram post, revealing to fans not just his sexuality, but his soul. He opened up about his lifelong battle with depression and the pain of losing someone to suicide, tying his coming out to the release of his indie film Reach, a drama tackling teen suicide and LGBTQ themes. It was a brave, vulnerable move, the Disney golden boy bearing his scars to help others heal. Hollywood's reaction? Mostly admiration, but that was just Act 1. Garrett was only warming up. To shed the squeaky clean image, he took on a role that stunned those who knew him as the beach hunk Tanner. Garrett portrayed real-life gay porn star Brent Corrigan in the true crime film King Cobra, a neon-lit plunge into the seedy adult film underworld. The announcement alone turned heads. A former Disney star in a sexually charged R-rated drama? Some conservative fans squirmed, and even industry folks held their breath. But Garrett delivered, earning praise for his fearless commitment. Co-star James Franco publicly commended Garrett's gutsy transformation, calling it commendable, proving he's an actor of incredible range and depth. He had shattered the typecast and dared anyone to put him back in a box. There was more. Garrett high-kicked his way to Broadway in Hairspray Live, wowed critics with his vocal chops, and then used that same voice to advocate for LGBTQ+ youth. He teamed with organizations like the Trevor Project to fight queer teen suicide, stating that if sharing his own struggles could help even one young person feel less alone, it was all worth it. Not many Hollywood hunks go from singing on a surfboard to speaking at charity galas about mental health. But Garrett contains multitudes. Of course, embracing authenticity courted backlash too. When he and longtime love Blake Knight, now his husband, posted joyful photos together, a few trolls spewed homophobia. Garrett stood tall, clapping back at hateful comments by simply living unapologetically in love. Each time critics tried to throw shade, he met them with pride and sometimes a fabulous Instagram dance. From Disney darling to out and proud trailblazer, Garrett's career is a masterclass in breaking free. Bold career moves or too much rebellion? We ask you, did Garrett go too far in smashing his wholesome image? Or was he just finally being real? 4. Joshua Bassett, the resilient heartthrob. Disney had molded Joshua Bassett into the picture-perfect teen prince, swoopy hair, golden voice, starring in High School Musical, the series. But real life for Joshua has been messier than any Disney plot and far more inspiring. In 2021, during what seemed like a casual web interview, Joshua felt a truth bubbling up. Midway through gushing that he found Harry Styles charming, he ad-libbed with a nervous grin, "I guess this is also my coming out video, haha." The internet exploded. Fans replayed the clip in disbelief and joy. Did their teenage dream just announce he's not straight? Without labels or a big press tour, Joshua had effectively shrugged, "Yep, I'm part of the LGBTQ+ community," and carried on. That laid-back honesty endeared him to countless young people who saw their own tentative self-discovery reflected back. But if you think this story ends in a rainbow bubble of positivity, think again. No sooner had Joshua embraced his truth than he was hit by a whirlwind of drama. First came the heartbreak hurricane. A certain ex-co-star, Hello Olivia Rodrigo, released the breakup anthem Driver's License, and fans decided Joshua was the villain of her story. In early 2021, he endured a barrage of online hate and even death threats from overzealous listeners who took sides in a love triangle he never asked to be in. The stress literally nearly killed him. Joshua was rushed to the hospital in January 2021, suffering septic shock and heart failure at age 20. Doctors gave him a 30% chance of survival. He later admitted, "I'm sure stress had a part in it," referring to the public maelstrom swirling around him. While Olivia was topping charts, Joshua was fighting for his life. Talk about high school musical melodrama turned real. But our resilient heartthrob didn't give up. He recovered, slowly but surely, and emerged with a new outlook. In his music and interviews, he started opening up about personal trauma and healing. He told GQ he refused to be bitter and even wished his ex well. A class act play straight from a Disney script, only this time it was genuine. By late 2021, Joshua proudly said he was at peace with his sexuality and so happy to be a part of the LGBTQ+ community, letting fans know his earlier coming out quip was 100% real. Just when the storms seemed to calm, though, Act 3 arrived, Joshua's spiritual awakening. Early 2023, he posted cryptic messages about finding Jesus and even got baptized at an evangelical megachurch, one with a notorious anti-LGBTQ reputation. Cue the media frenzy and fan panic. Had Joshua turned his back on the community he'd just embraced? The truth was more complex. A video of his baptism went viral, showing Joshua tearfully testifying how faith saved him from addiction, depression, suicidal ideation. Concerned fans pointed out the church promotes conversion therapy and other harmful views. The backlash was swift, and Joshua felt it. Within hours, he clarified on Twitter that he was unaware of the church's policies, saying, "I don't endorse all of them. I strongly condemn gay conversion therapy. My heart is for Christ and Christ alone." It was a tightrope walk, reaffirming his queer identity and denouncing bigotry while holding on to newfound faith. Many embraced his nuanced stance, but some left confused or skeptical. Through it all, Joshua keeps doing what he loves, making music that lays his soul bare and acting roles that speak to the kid he once was. The kid who could have used an openly queer Disney prince to look up to. In his own words, life's too short to not be who you are, and Joshua is living that truth every day. Was his journey inspiring or all over the place? You be the judge. Is Joshua carving out a bold new path of honesty in Hollywood? Or did his twists and turns leave fans more puzzled than proud? 5. Joe Locke, the boundary breaker. One year, you're performing in your school play on a tiny island. Joe's from the Isle of Man. Population $85,000. The next, you're the breakout star of a global Netflix phenomenon with millions of Instagram followers shipping your every move. This is the head-spinning reality that Joe Locke walked into when Heartstopper hit screens. As Charlie Spring, a sweet gay schoolboy who gets the guy, Joe became the queer icon teens were yearning for, tender, relatable, and actually their age. Overnight, he was thrust into that peculiar beast, fandom obsession. For a soft-spoken 18-year-old, It was overwhelming. Fans dissected Joe's social media for clues about his love life, some even crossing the line from enthusiasm to entitlement. How far? Try tracking down his family. Joe revealed that strangers went so far as to call his grandmother's personal phone, hunting for info. Others bombarded his mom's Facebook with invasive messages until she had to change accounts. This wasn't harmless fanfiction. It was real people in Joe's real life feeling the dark side of stardom. Suddenly, the young actor who brought Gentle Charlie to life was facing a very ungentle reality. Fame can cost you privacy. But Joe Locke is not one to suffer in silence. In interviews and a frank Teen Vogue cover story, he spoke out directly to the fandom. People need to learn their boundaries, he asserted firmly. He admitted feeling guilty that his loved ones were paying the price for his celebrity, and he wasn't going to let it slide. That willingness to check his own fan base, to say, "I owe you my performance, not my private life," was a risky move for a newcomer. But the majority of fans actually respected it. They appreciated that the guy who played a sensitive character was a thoughtful, boundary-setting person in real life too. Joe's insistence on drawing lines has started conversations across young fandoms about where admiration ends and invasion begins. Not that all of Joe's interactions with the public have been battles. Many have been downright heartwarming. As an openly gay young man playing an openly gay lead, he's given LGBTQ+ kids a precious gift: hope. Fans tell him through tears that Charlie's story gave them courage to come out. Joe carries that responsibility with grace, becoming an advocate for mental health and trans rights. He's used his platform to support trans youth against UK's anti-trans policies. When his co-star Kit Connor was pressured by online mobs into coming out as bi, Joe was the first to defend him, tweeting, "You owe nothing to anyone. I'm so proud of you, my friend." He then gave Kit a hug heard round the world and spoke out against fans prying into actors' sexualities. Even the Marvel Universe is knocking on Joe's door. He's been cast in the upcoming Agatha Coven of Chaos series, rumored to play a teen gay icon of comics lore. The Cruikshank news sparked both excitement and, predictably, some homophobic chatter from trolls who hate seeing queer representation in superheroes. But if they think Joe Locke will be intimidated, they haven't been paying attention. He's more than ready to play a magical young gay hero. He's living that bravery already. So, boundary breaker or buzzkill? Tell us what you think. Is Joe setting much-needed limits and changing fan culture for the better? Or should a star expect the spotlight to consume their privacy? 6. Troye Sivan, the provocative pop prince. When Troye Sivan sings, "I'm Gonna Bloom," he's not just crooning a catchy chorus, he's declaring his liberation. This YouTuber turned pop prince has been coming into his own in front of our eyes for years, ever since he sat down at 18 to film a YouTube video and told millions of subscribers, "I'm gay, and this is not something that I'm ashamed of." That was 2013, a time when few male pop figures were out so young. Troye's heartfelt coming out video made countless LGBTQ+ youth feel seen, and it set the tone for a music career built on radical openness. Fast forward to the present, Troye Sivan has blossomed into a subversive force in pop music, rapping vulnerable queer storytelling in infectious synth beats, and occasionally shocking the establishment along the way. Case in point, his recent music video for Rush. Imagine a sweaty, hedonistic queer dance party packed with mostly scantily clad ripped dancers grinding to a euphoric beat. To many, it was 3 minutes of pure liberating joy, unapologetic celebration of queer sexuality. But to some critics, Troye's video was too much of a good thing. A few within the LGBTQ community pointed out the almost exclusive parade of perfectly chiseled bodies and cried foul on the lack of diversity, calling it a return to body fascism, all skinny white twinks in one harsh op-ed. Social media buzzed with debate. Was the video irresponsibly exclusionary? Or was a young gay artist allowed to revel in a fantasy of club bliss? Troye, usually a darling of the press, suddenly found himself in the crossfire of a body image discourse. His response was thoughtful. He definitely heard the critique and admitted it just wasn't a thought we had during filming, gently assuring fans that no exclusion was intentional. He even revealed how those comments stung because he's battled his own body insecurities. With disarming honesty, Troye turned a backlash into a conversation about self-love and the pressures of perfection. And let's not forget the earlier times he playfully provoked prudes, like the Bloom era, when he boldly sang about queer intimacy. Yes, that kind of blooming in a lush pop anthem. Or when a magazine interviewer once tried to ask if he was a top or bottom, and Troye shut it down with class, calling it an invasive question that straight stars never get. Every time society tried to pigeonhole him or pry too deep, Troye set a boundary, a prince who knows his worth. Yet he also gives so much of himself to his fans. Candid YouTube vlogs about first kisses and heartbreaks, steamy music videos where he owns his femboy glamour, and acting roles in films like Boy Erased that tackle conversion therapy head-on. Troye's journey hasn't seen scandals in the tabloid sense. His are the storms of representation in art. He's been accused of being too gay for some markets and not gay enough by some activists, of playing the industry game while also challenging it. And through it all, he keeps delivering ethereal bops and heartfelt ballads that speak to the lonely teenager he once was, listening to pop songs and wishing they included his experiences. Now they do because he wrote them. So, is Troye an icon or a lightning rod? We ask you, has this pop prince struck the right balance between provocation and representation, or has he pushed the envelope just to tear it? Sound off below. Visionary artist or overhyped diva? No PR fairy tales here. Just risk, receipts, and reinvention. If visibility saved you once, hit subscribe and ring the bell. Tell us where you're watching from. Drop the number 16 that hit you hardest, and share this with someone who needs courage tonight. Respect the artists, debate the ideas, protect the kids coming up after us. This is Silent Fame. We don't chase scandals, we trace the truth they leave behind. See you in the comments.